when given the option of 3 options or one, when you give the option of 3 options, most people wouldn't even make a choice. It overwhelmed them. So that's why I went to one option. I went to Chipotle, and it's like cut down tremendously on questions and people not knowing which to pick. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to let these folks in the room get in here. And then hopefully mute them upon entry. Mute all.
Hi,
Hello.
Oh, I was muted. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. It's so nice to see your face again.
Oh, you're so sweet. It's so good to see you. I am so excited that we're going to start doing these, and so thankful to Lydia for this fantastic idea that she came up with to start doing these monthly. And we have some incredible speakers lined up. I see one of them is here, Miss Greta. You're lined up coming soon. I just love that wallpaper behind you. I'm like so obsessed. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Danny, I've missed you. It's good to see you too. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are all here. Wait, is that Nellie? Nellie, hi. Wait, what color is your hair? It looks purple in this light. Is it purple?
It's black.
Okay, because it totally looks purple in this light. Oh my gosh, this is so great to see you guys all. We are recording so that we can share with friends that aren't able to make it. And then the Q&A section at the end, it's always nice sometimes to come back and see what was answered if you didn't catch the notes. Danny, good to see you. Missed you, Audrey. Oh, hi, Sarah. Miss Washburn's currently not traveling. She does love to travel. Getting ready for the holidays. Are you guys ready for the holidays? Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. We do the Christmas thing where we're going to overspend. Mariah says she's going to stay on mute. She has her 4-month-old. Oh my God, that baby is so cute. We got to meet him at APNA. He was the cutest thing I've ever seen. All right, we're still having people in the room or in the waiting room. So I'm going to give them 2 more minutes and then let you guys get started because I know you have some awesome stuff to share. Hi, Danny. I sure have missed you. I always love how positive you are about things. You overspend too. Danny, is this your first Christmas as a married man? Or is it your second? Oh, he's chatting. Yes, it's his first Christmas as a married man. Isn't that precious? Oh, that's so sweet. Denise, my love. Hi. Hello, dear. How are things in California?
They're going well. It's cold, but I know I can't really complain for those of you who live in snowy areas, but it's cold for us.
Well, it's going to be 15 here.
I second this motion.
Oh, I'm so glad we did this. It's so good to see all these faces. I have missed some of you guys. Hi, Danica. I know you can't speak, but it's still good to see you in your beautiful Christmas tree. Hi, Jessica. Nice to meet you. All right. You ready to get started, Miss Lydia? If you and Mary will unmute themselves. I'm going to read a little bio on Lydia. Her and her beautiful assistant, Mary, are going to share some information for us that we're all excited to hear. And then the last couple of minutes, we will leave for Q&A. Okay, so get your questions ready. You can put them in the chat box, but you guys know I love conversations. So I'll let you read those yourself. But little about Lydia. Sommet Nannies was founded by Lydia Thibodeau after founding 2 successful agencies in Boston and Chicago in 2015. Lydia is a highly regarded expert in the childcare industry who takes pride in her ability to make excellent matches between nannies and families. Lydia has presented at the International Nanny Association Conference and has been a contributor in Forbes, wow, the Boston Globe, WGN Radio, and the Chicago Tribune. Okay, no pressure. Lydia holds a bachelor's degree in marketing from the University of Illinois at Chicago and resides in Boston, Massachusetts. In her free time, she enjoys spending time with her husband and her 2 sons, reading and running. Now, did I say the new agency name correctly? I know it's French.
It's Sommet, but we get called Sommet a lot, which we expected. I answer to most things that start with S. Oh, good.
Why don't you tell people why you chose Sommet? Because that was such an interesting rebrand that you did. I loved it.
Thank you. So we chose Sommet because the funny story behind it is I wanted to do Pinnacle staffing. And when I said that to my husband, he says, Pinnacle sounds like a 90s business term. And I thought that was hilarious. And so I'm like, all right, well, how can I play off of that? So we started looking at Pinnacle in different languages because we thought that could be really pretty and different. And Sommet is Pinnacle in French. And we use that in the triangle that's in our logo to be like childcare at its peak. And that's kind of where we went with that. But Sommet just seemed a lot prettier than Pinnacle. And I thought, yeah, where it went.
I love it. I love it. All right, my dear. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And the stage is yours.
All right. So this came out of nowhere, but we responded to a comment last week from one of Megan's clients who is talking about, cross referrals and reaching out to products and services that don't necessarily compete with ours, but that we could easily brand with. And have similar client bases. And so this is a concept that's near and dear to my heart right now. And Mary and I have been really focused on through the holidays and the slow season, just putting us in a good position, working with other firms in the local area to help generate referrals moving forward. So one place that this started in Chicago was with a nanny that we placed with a family who was with her family for 3 years. And then she went to go work as a doula. After she left, she continued to have a really good rapport with our agency. And so she started referring a lot of clients after she had worked with them, because she's a postpartum doula, to our agency. Those clients in turn referred new clients, and it just snowballed from there. And so this is something I continually go back to, particularly when it's slow, to, again, generate new leads, but also just keep establishing deeper roots in the community and building up that networking potential. So I'm going to give kind of my spiel on what we've been doing high level, and then Mary's going to get into the nitty gritty a little bit. And like Megan said, we'll leave some questions. We'll leave some time for questions at the end. So our overall process was looking at other firms that work with a very similar client base to ours, but have non-competing products or service offerings. So some examples of this would be babysitting services, doula agencies, and this would be, pre, postpartum, and during. And then real estate companies, as silly as that might sound, OB offices, and the like. So I would say far and above where we've seen the biggest result is with postpartum doulas and lactation specialists. A little bit of babysitting, a little bit of real estate, but overall and above, it's people that work with newborns have given us the best response rate. What we reach out and basically ask them is, and I'll read you an exact email because I think the wording here is actually pretty important, but we say, so this would be an example of Mary reaching out to somebody. So my name is Mary and I work with the local nanny placement agency, Sommet Nannies, and we put in our email, our website. Given the client profile that we both work with, we feel like there's an exciting opportunity to cross-refer each other, and we would welcome a discussion to explore this further. We are constantly asked by our clients about infant care services, and unfortunately, it's not a service that we provide. We would be happy to pass along your company name if you have a capacity to accept new clients. Thanks in advance for your consideration, and please let us know how we might be able to work together and promote your brand. So the idea of this is that the email is very much about them. We've experimented with all kinds of templates, and we found this one to be the most effective, and that's why it's the one we've continued to use, because when we came in promoting too much, those emails were not responded to. When we came in asking them for something without giving something back, or even just leading with that, we need something from you, it was not responded to as well. And this all just, of course, makes sense. So that's kind of the template that we have stuck with. and reaching out about things that we don't do. So again, unfortunately, we don't do overnight care, for example, for infants. So that's something that's really easy to put in the subject line, but making it very specific to them is important. So while you do work off of a basic template, like I just went over, you still want to personalize it to their space so that they know this isn't just a spam email that you hit copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste 100 times. You'll notice that we didn't offer a discount. And I think that's pretty important. And I know Megan would get behind this. I'm not saying, we want to give your clients 20% off. I don't think we all need to do that. And we've seen a great response rate not doing that. Further, and I'll go into this in a little bit more in a second, but when we schedule these Zoom calls and follow-up phone calls with other owners of these firms, they're actually not asking for discounts. I don't think once any of them have said, well, what can you offer our clients? But in turn, you'll notice I'm not asking for a fee from them. So I'm not saying that, if you refer a client to me, I'll give you a $200 fee, a $500 fee, whatever it is. I'm saying that I'm going to refer you clients because you have a non-competing service and you're going to refer me them. And we're just going to do that because. And again, I found that has worked well because we're not looking for an additional contract to be drawn up. It's not going back and forth about what fee is appropriate. We're not, I just think it can get a little hairy when there's something, monetary on the line from both ends. So we're not giving a discount, but we're also not asking for a fee. And again, this is just what's worked for us. The goal of those emails is getting a response, number one. But outside of that, if they respond and say, oh, this is really interesting, tell us more. And I would say that's the most common response. Rather than sending a 5-paragraph email, which no one's going to read, we just really quickly say, yeah, happy to explore this further. Are you open to a phone or Zoom call later this week or next? What times work for you? I would say, and Mary's going to give you some hard data on this, but most of the time when we do get a response, they are very open to scheduling a Zoom call, and we'll always pick that over phone just because it does give us that face-to-face with them. It's easy to forget someone over email. It's not as easy to forget them when they're able to put a face to the name. And I think in a lot of ways it's going the extra mile than just quickly doing a phone call or saying, here's some quick information over email. So we found that to be really effective too. When we get on these Zoom calls, I start by letting the other person talk. So I say, where we found you, and then tell me more about your products, tell me more about your clients, what are they looking for with us? How often do you hear that they're looking for nanny services? Acknowledge what they do and how it can fit in with your current client's needs. So for example, we had a call last week with a woman who specializes in sleep in general. Children, newborn age until 10 years old. She has very, very specific individualized sleep plans. And so many people can relate to that. I mean, we all are on the phone every day with clients that say how tired they are, their baby's not sleeping, their 2-year-old's crawling out of their bed, whatever it is. Sleep consulting is not something I do, but it was a really quick way to pass on a referral and relate to her. So after you have scheduled a Zoom with them, you've talked to them, you've learned about them. And I would say we keep these to about 30 minutes max. Some of them are shorter. And I think this is important. If you ask somebody for an hour of their time, it's probably not going to happen. If you ask them for 15 minutes, most people have that. If the general discussion evolves and you stay on longer, that's fantastic. But 30 minutes is kind of around the time we found where they can talk about themselves. We can give them a little bit of what we do. And then you can close it out with any questions and next steps. In terms of the next steps, I would say it's really important to have a follow-up. I think that if you get off these calls, even if the call went great, just saying like, well, thanks for your time, it's going to be really hard for them to remember you. I mean, I think that, in good faith, people do want to help you out. People do want to refer, but who knows if in 8 months when they get asked about nannies, you're top of mind. What we've done is put together a quick 1-pager bio about our firm, our process, and our fee structure, so they can send that to clients. It's not just saying, send them to our website, because that's, work on their end and doesn't always work. And people aren't always going to read your whole website. There's often information overload. But a quick 1-pager of like, this is what we do, this is the process, and this is the cost, they can quickly pass that along. I've also said, I am considering putting together a trusted resources page for my website for 2023. I see some of you already have that. And this is what I'm saying to the people that we're talking to. Would you feel comfortable putting our logo on there? Would you feel comfortable adding us to your website? And in turn, when and if we add this page, we'll add you. In the meantime, we do have a client packet that we send out once we've started discussions with a family, and we can certainly put your information there. So again, not just ending these phone calls with saying like, well, this was really great, thanks. I hope you'll think of me next time you hear someone looking for a nanny, but actually giving an actionable point. I'm going to send you my one pager on my firm, my process, my fee structure. Do you have anything that I can give clients? And if not, how can they best get in touch with you? Would you like an email introduction? Would you like us giving out a one pager? Like, what is it? You know, and again, that will help in the beginning of these calls when you ask more about their process. So make sure you understand how they work too. But we found that the one pagers are helpful because it gives you a follow-up item. You're not just logging off the Zoom with them and saying like, well, thanks, please think of me. It gives a follow-up item. But also if they say they're going to put you on their website, and we did a call with somebody 2 weeks ago that said they would. You guys know me, I'm ruthless. So I go on and look and like, we're not on our website yet. So I went back and said, hey, just following up, happy holidays. How are things going? Just wanted to check that you got my email with our logo. As mentioned, we would be so appreciative to be on this page, blah, blah, blah. She wrote back, hey, I've been so sick. I'm sorry. I just saw this. Yes, we'll add you guys today. But again, don't feel shy to give that little nudge after these discussions. The first discussion is great. Your foot's in the door. But if you just let that door close, you really didn't get anywhere. And they may not remember you when it's time to refer. So staying top of mind is important. Outside of that, I would say don't be discouraged by a lack of a response. Again, during the slow seasons and just anytime we have time, Mary and I devote a lot of time to these cross referrals. I would say a lot of them pay off, and I would say more of them don't. And don't be discouraged by that. If you're sending out 100 emails over the course of 2-3 weeks and you're getting, you know, even 20 responses, that's pretty good, because you have to think of this as a fishing pole and not a fish. You know, a fish is great. One referral is great. But if you have that fishing pole, you can get even more fish. And so we're establishing long-term relationships with other companies that can refer us more and more and more clients. And that takes time. So again, we're not necessarily looking for someone right away to say, yeah, I've got a family for you. And of course, that's great. But like, it doesn't often happen. We're looking for them to just remember us. So don't be discouraged by a lack of response. Don't be discouraged by someone saying like, I don't have time for this right now. And I'll tell you again, during the slow season, Mary and I have been doing these emails a lot during the holidays. A lot of people have said, hey, I'm not thinking about this right now. I'm just trying to get through New Year's. No problem. We'll check in with you in the New Year's. And notice I'm not saying when's a good time to check in with you in the new year. She's already told me I'm not ready to deal with this right now. I'm not ready to have this discussion right now. So I'm just going to proactively tell her that I will check in with her in the new year. And again, that's kind of what we talked about a second ago, but just kind of taking charge of the conversation and making sure you're top of mind and following up. But this is a little bit of a marathon and not a sprint. And I love running, so I'm going to use that analogy. Don't expect this stuff to pay off in 2 days. But again, I go back to this doula that I have such a great relationship with in Chicago, that I've had a great relationship with for years. She has referred so many clients to us, who have referred so many clients to us. The network at this point, I can't even count. And that's one person. So this stuff will pay off, but it can just take a little bit of time. All right. I think that is all I have. I know Mary's got some comments as well, and then we'll go ahead and open it up for discussion.
Great. Yeah. Hi, everyone. First of all, so first of all, I guess I would start with where I find them. I think it just takes a quick Google search and a look at their website to see that their, website aligns with what we're looking for, and our client base is pretty similar. From there, I send a lot of emails every day, and I would say I looked back and found that I received a 50% response rate, which feels really discouraging sometimes, but that is actually a really great number for the amount of emails I've sent. Again, a lot of these websites do include a resources page, and I found that most of them don't have a nanny agency included in that page. So it's really encouraging that we're getting in contact with them, and 100% of the people that we've spoken to date have said that they're asked constantly about nanny services from their clients. So it's great to be on top of mind, especially as more babies are being born in the new year. From there, I keep a communication log for every email I send. So I have sort of a crazy Excel spreadsheet with emails, dates of email sent, and responses. So that helps me stay up to date with whether or not I've received a response, and then when do I need to reach back out with an actionable item. And again, I'm really selective over who I'm reaching out to. I really want to be sure that I'm reaching the right person. So typically that means I find the CEO of the company and reach out directly to them, or I'll reach out to HR depending on the company and how big it is. And so then from there, again, I would say I send about 5 emails a day, and I try really hard to not get discouraged. And then once we get on the Zoom calls, it's been really great. And we've always been really pleased with the people we're talking to. We find that we align really well with all of the people we've talked to up to date. So I guess that's pretty much it from my end. And again, like Lydia said, we're not offering any discounts or fees, and we haven't gotten any pushback there. So that's been really great.
Ladies, this is amazing. Lydia, can you repeat that analogy about this is a fishing pole, not a fish? Like that to me.
Yeah.
Really hit home. Can you repeat that to those that may not have grabbed it the first time? Because I'm like 3 pages in on my notes here.
Yeah. So again, Mary and I talk a lot about referrals. A single referral from a client is how we've grown our business. And I'm very appreciative always for those. However, it's a fishing pole. It's a fish, not a fishing pole. So that single referral is just one fish. But these, other women, other men, agency owners, people that own these doula services, night nurses, they have the potential to give you multiple referrals constantly. Again, I go back to doulas because we probably have the most success with them, but they are literally in the delivery room with these women. And they're like constantly, and a lot of them are booked out years. So they have, one client after another that can just give you more and more clients. And that's where I'm saying, don't chase that one lead, that one person that can give you a referral. Chase the person that can give you 50 referrals and keep giving, because that's where we're finding the most success.
Right. I'd like to open it up for questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can unmute yourself and go ahead and ask and have a conversation. You don't have to use the chat box. If you don't have your video on, or you would prefer to use the chat box, feel free. But tap into this beautiful woman and her beautiful assistant's brain, because this is really well done, ladies. Thank you. Thank you. All right, questions, gang?
I have a question, if you don't mind me jumping in.
Yeah.
Hi, Bailey.
Jump, Bailey.
Good to see everyone. So we've done some of this as well, and have had a lot of success with doulas in particular as well. But one area that I've wanted to branch out more into is real estate, because in our markets, we have specifically Charleston and Atlanta. A lot of people are moving to our areas. New families that don't have family around. So that is one thing specifically. So I'm just wondering, I know you said when you reach out to them initially, you don't say like, this is what we do, here's our information. You're trying to approach it in a way of, here's how we can refer you business. But how would you do that specifically for a realtor, since it's not really, they're not really like in our industry where we could kind of refer clients that way to them?
So this is where I would go back to the concept of getting that email really tailored. When you're responding to doula services, you can almost do a copy paste in a lot of ways, but this, you do have to be pretty niche. And I think saying something like, a lot of our clients are newly relocated to the area or are planning to relocate to the area. And we had a lot of this over the summer. I mean, post-COVID, we all know this, people are moving all over. So they would say to us, we're New Yorkers, we're moving to Boston, but we haven't found a place yet. How many times are you asked for a real estate recommendation? Probably not a ton. But one, they don't know that. And two, you never know. Some family may ask you. I mean, certainly in 8 years of business, I have been asked a few times. So that's where I would give a value add back and say, we do work with a lot of clients who are newly relocating to the area and may or may not have found housing. If you have the capacity to take on more clients, I would love to refer them to you. So just throwing it out there back to them, because I think, again, people are more inclined to give something when they're getting something in return, particularly because they don't have any skin in the game with you. They don't know you from anyone else. But saying like, a lot of our clients, are looking for housing when they come here, and being able to refer them, I think, will help.
So then are you kind of limiting the number of realtors that you would work with or list?
So we're in 3 cities right now. So we have like pretty big reach. So we get to do all these referrals for each city, which helps. I would say right now, no, I'm not, because I don't, I think it's tough if you have all of your loyalty to one specific person. Again, I would go back to you're back at a fish and not a fishing pole in that case. I'm just really running with that analogy. I would keep it broad. I mean, they're not committing to just send people your way that are looking for a nanny, although I doubt they have someone else in the pipeline, but I don't know if I'd commit to that, unless they're sending you a very specific amount and it's a lot every single month. In that case, I might consider being exclusive, but at this point, we haven't done that now.
Thank you. I had one other quick question. You said
Yeah.
you didn't talk about like, working out some sort of like referral fees, but do you give them any type of referral fee when they do send you someone?
So I haven't. I do thank you gifts, and I've done those in the past. Even those, I feel like I don't know how much people care about them. All of us have debated about giving clients referral gifts, and I know some of us do and some of us don't. I just have not found it to be effective. In the same way, like I am not looking for a fee if I refer them somebody, and I will, because we get asked about all these services. I don't want to have to pay to get a referral either. I think it can get really hairy. I think, again, your number might be different from the number they had in mind. If you're percent-based, as many of us are at this point, they might say, well, if you're getting a higher percent for this client, I should, like, it can just get nitty-gritty and take away from the overall idea, which is just, we're going to refer you business and you're going to refer us business, and that's it. And I think there is like a warm and fuzzy vibe that comes with it too. Just knowing, again, I go back to that doula that we work with. Like, she's just like, I'm really happy you've taken care of the families that I've referred to you. It has been a little interesting to me. Like, Mary and I have done a lot of these Zoom calls at this point. Nobody's asked for it. And I also would never want to proactively say, like, I'm going to pay you for a lead when nobody's even asked. If that was really important to them and we felt like they were capable of giving us some really, really good leads, I'd probably consider it. But again, it's not been on the table, probably because they don't want to have to pay when we send them leads either. So it's just kind of like-minded people working together. But I am a little surprised that people haven't asked about that, but I think it just works better when it's off the table personally.
Thank you.
I have a question. You mentioned sitter agencies. So I am always referring to sitter agencies because they're not my client. And so I want to help them. I'm curious why you said you haven't found a lot of traction or, them willing to do that back with you.
Did I say that? If I did, I'm sorry, because that's,
no,
we actually,
you just said that the postpartum doulas and the infant were more.
So let me be clear, because that's a great question. There is only one that I know, and Sarah, you're on this call, so you could say if I'm wrong. I think there's only one babysitting service that I really know of in Boston, truly. So a little bit of a niche in the market right now. So we are in contact with them, but they are kind of the only game in town in Boston. In Chicago, we have established some really good relationships with babysitting companies, and those have paid off tenfold because, even though they have a babysitting service, they get asked for nannies all the time for people that don't make that distinction, which we all know happens all the time. So one in particular in Chicago, I've established a really good relationship with, and she refers us probably 2 or 3 families every single month that sign with us. So I think that can be a gold mine, particularly if you have a lot of babysitting services in your town. We just don't. But yeah, I think that could be really helpful.
Awesome.
How would you market yourself to like OB and fertility clinics? Because I place all newborn care and labor doulas. So reaching out to my fellow labor doulas and newborn care specialists and things like that would work, but because we're along the same lines, we do the same thing.
Have you talked to nanny agencies? Because you don't place nannies, right?
No, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
okay.
we do it all.
Okay, so it's not just newborn, like NCSs, you're everything. So I will say, and Megan, I know, has probably had I think she's had a lot of success with OB offices. Mine has been so-so. And I was going to be honest about that. The 2 places I feel like have been so-so is OB offices. We've gotten an okay response rate, not great. We have also reached out to corporations like, Boston Consulting Group, for example, or like large law firms in our local areas to ask if we can be on their HR platforms for relocating executives. Meaning the company would pay for the placement to entice an executive into the office. Those have been really, really hard to get in touch with. Specifically, I think because they're getting spammed. I mean, I have not cracked that nut yet, but if I do, I will be back again for a webinar. But OB offices and those have been particularly tough, to be honest. So I don't have a ton of insight for you on that, but stay tuned. We're still working on it.
I have a follow-up to that. So I get a lot of referrals. San Antonio is a medical school and a large military community. So I get a ton of referrals from medical people just that have used us, and then they refer their friends, or like their attending refers the resident kind of thing. I'm just trying to think, open this to everyone, including Lydia and others. How would you encourage them? So I'm already getting them. That's the great news, right? Is I'm getting these MD families. How could I encourage them? I'm just trying to think like what else I could do to get more doctor referrals, because they're great. They need the care. They have the money. They're the ideal family. I'm just curious if anybody has any ideas besides OB-GYNs, like how to get more MD families from your current referrals.
I'll give my 2-second advice and then anyone else jump in, please. I know this is so obvious, but ask for the referral. Do not be afraid to ask. I feel like we sometimes are so afraid to self-promote. Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask for the referral. I have a particular dual physician client in Boston that I just absolutely love. They have, had multiple nannies from us. There's like the ideal client. And I tell them that. I say, like, you are my dream client. Right. I would love to be referred to more like-minded people like you guys. And they knowing that I've asked for the referral and that I'm interested in taking on new clients, they will make the referral. The other thing I've done, with this type of clientele that again is kind of hard to give a referral bonus to, like they don't care about that. They don't care, but giving a donation to a charity of their choice. So we sent out a mass client email in October, I want to say, saying that, for any referrals that you give us for the month of October, we will give a $500 donation to the charity of your choice. I do think they care about that. And actually the week we sent that out, we got 10 referrals. Now, of course, again, not all of those are going to pay off, but I do think they care about, one, ask for the referral because they don't always think of you. And two, charity is something everyone is going to care about, particularly our type of client. They don't need a Starbucks gift card. They don't need, an Amex gift card, but a charity that they can get by. Sure.
Fantastic, Lydia. And make sure when you're asking for the referral that you say, who do you know, right? Get in the mindset of not asking a yes or no question, but I love working with families like yours. I would love to work with more families just like you. Who do you know that we can help? Has them start thinking through their Rolodex of names. Greta, so cute. I love that. Okay, I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. Anyone else have any questions for this smart, beautiful, well-spoken lady who we just love and adore and we've missed, but she keeps having these gorgeous boys, so we understand.
Quick question. Have you done any in-person kind of like introducing yourself? And if you have, how have you gone about it?
So I have not yet. I have 2 under 2 right now, and I am virtually buried. But Mary and I have talked about doing that in the new year. I think it's kind of coming back now since COVID. We've been so out of doing these in-person meetings of any kind. But I have wondered, particularly with OB offices, if that's a route we're going to need to go because they're just tough nuts to crack. So I haven't yet, but again, stay tuned because that's on Mary's and my radar for 2023.
Is Megan, is Carissa on the call?
She's not.
Oh, she's the queen of in-person. She's really good at going to visit businesses and dropping off things and stuff. Maybe she'll be the next round of this. Yes. Where Carissa talks about doing in-person visits.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Bring the food. You guys know how people feel about the food. That'll get you in the door. If you can use the relationships you already have to ask for the introduction, if you can go in with a name, it's easier. Also remember who was the one that is meeting with the families. It's going to be the front desk scheduler and it's going to be the nurses. Same thing with the pediatrician is the one that they're going to trust the most. But when it comes to the OB, they'll get that information from a couple of different places in the OB office. Bring the cupcakes, bring the cake pops. all the good stuff. All right, I had a message in the chat. Mariah, would you be willing to share the strategical alliance template you read earlier? I did get a lot of requests for that, Lydia. Everybody wants to know that.
Yeah, I think we can toss something together, and Megan, I can send that to you and you can send it out. Again, I can't stress this enough. Tailor it. Do not copy paste or you will not get responses. It'll be viewed as spam. But like Mary said, do the research on the website, find the person you should talk to. Do not send this to whom it may concern. You will not get a response. Tailor the template we're going to send you, but the overall wording should be really effective.
Thank you, Lydia. That is so great. All right, last one. Anyone else? Lydia, we cannot thank you enough for you and Mary sharing your time.
Of course.
You've always been such an inspiration for all of us. We just think you're smart and awesome. And for those of you that went to the retreat, the Big D, our sweet Lydia.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so question, what about schools? So like, do you only reach out to private schools or?
Yeah, so we have started those reach outs. I would say those are somewhat effective. That was another big campaign we had this quarter, is reaching out to schools. Again, you can't do it with like, who do you know that needs a nanny? They're not going to respond.
Okay.
But what we do is say, like, we know your charity auctions are coming up. You know, whatever it is, they're doing something for the fall, a gala or the winter gala, whatever. We make a donation, like a date night with our top sitter, nanny, who will sit for that night, and give them a gift certificate to a really nice dinner, a restaurant in town, or we sponsor the event. Sponsoring is going to be really expensive, so be really smart with it. It doesn't always work. In 8 years, have paid to sponsor many events where we have seen 0 clients from, but some have been really, really effective. But again, as you're reaching out to these schools, do your research. Who's in HR, who's in communications, don't send it to the principal. Really make sure you're getting through to the right person, because adding the old, like, if you're not the right person, tell me who to talk to. They're going to hit delete, because I don't know about you guys, but I get 1,000 of those emails every week and I hit delete right away too. So do your research. On a lot of what Mary spends time doing is making sure she's talking to the right person. But again, I'm asking them, like, how can we do something for you? Can we donate to an auction? Can we sponsor an event? And if not this gala that's coming up, what do you have in the spring? They will let you know.
They'll do festivals down south. That might be a Southern thing. But instead of actually sponsoring, we'll do free face painting and have the nannies there face painting for free. And so that's really only costing me the time of the face paint and paying the nannies for their time. And then we're shaking hands and kissing babies. This is what you guys always hear me say. Don't really kiss them anymore. But we're then in front of them and engaging them and then letting them enter. So that sometimes works out really well. It just depends on what they're offering. Could you offer childcare during some event? Could you? Yeah, love it, Lydia. All really good stuff. Lydia, our chat box is blowing up with people saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. They took so many notes, they learned so much. We would be honored and delighted for you to share that beautifully well-written email with the community. Really excited and thankful for you. Next month in January, Danica from the Nanny Company is going to be sharing with us. And then we have numerous other legacy clients already lined up, including the beautiful Greta, who is here. So I really do, Danny, don't actually kiss the babies. Got it. Yes, not since COVID. So I really do appreciate you guys spending your time. I'll make sure to send you guys a copy of the recording and then email once Lydia has it over for us. And Lydia, thank you. We wish you all the best and very Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. See you guys soon.